What's up, game players? What's going on with you guys? I hope all is well with you guys out there. We are back for another week of the Name That Game contest. That's right, we are back for week 2. I think I might have went a little too far back for some of you guys out there, some of you younger game players, but I know somebody out there knows the answer. But unfortunately, this week we came up just a little short. We had one entry that was Mr. Michael Jakunski. Thank you so much for being a part of the competition. Not even a competition really, but the Name That Game section of the podcast. It is truly appreciated. Now, Mr. Michael wrote in and he said, "Good morning, Keon. Sorry the last message got sent early. It's all right, brother." He says, "I have a guess for the Name the Game contest of yours. Though it's early and my memory is probably playing tricks with me, my guess is Toe Jam and Earl. Hope I got it right. Keep up the good work. Michael." Oh my goodness. This is the interesting thing about Michael's answer. His answer wasn't, it was off. Unfortunately, Michael, it was off, but he was on the right track. Toe Jam and Earl, if you guys don't know, it was a game that was released back on the Sega Genesis, back in the day. The same game that I had up there was from the Sega Genesis era, and nobody got it. So the answer, I'm just going to name the answer, and we're going to go ahead and move on to another game. But unfortunately, Michael, that wasn't it. The answer to the question was Shadow Dancer, that was on the Sega Genesis, made back in 1991. Man, you were right there, brother. You were so close. But that was the answer. But hey, fear not. Once again, for you guys that might not know, this is the Name That Game section of the podcast where I'll be giving away, courtesy of Mr. Jonathan Goosens, a free digital copy of Dishonored. So on the Xbox One. So we're going to go ahead and move on with another game. Now this one, I'm very sure that you guys will get this one. So this is a game that was also made back on the Sega Genesis back in 1991. This was a very, very, very popular game. A lot of people played this game. And I'm going to even take it a step further because I want someone to win. I want someone to get this game. So I'll tell you guys that this is actually the music that you're going to hear. It's from the game, from a character that is well known to this day, who's even had a couple of mashups with other characters. So here we go. Here is that clip of Name That Game. Here's the clip, y'all. And welcome back, guys. I would like to welcome you to the Analog Circle Podcast, episode number 46. I'm your host, Keon Mitchell, and as always, I want to truly thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Analog Circle Podcast. Now, the music you just heard, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know the answer, so don't feel shy. Feel free to, if you want a free copy of, once again, courtesy of Mr. Jonathan Goosens, a free digital copy of Dishonored, the definitive edition, all you have to do is name that game, and the first person to either call in at 443-261-4607 with the right answer will get the copy, or if you want to, you could email the show, once again, like Mr. Michael did, at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, just as a reminder, if you do call, make sure that you include your email address in the voicemail. Oh man. Oh goodness, where do I start? The games that I was playing this week, not a whole lot this week. Actually, I've just been playing NBA 2K16. I know it's an old game, but I've kind of got the handle on it, kind of learned how to do some things with it. So I've been actually very impressed overall with the game. Not so much the story. I told you guys it just wasn't my thing. The my player aspect of the game, I just don't like it. It's not really my thing. But actually going into the mode where you could actually play a team and take them to the championship, that is a lot of fun. So being able to play all of the different players with different positions, it's always a lot better than just single-handedly having to play one single player and then sitting on the bench waiting for your chance to get in. I know some people love that because it's more of a simulation of you and the character that you've built, but it's just not my stick, man. But outside of that, it's been great, actually playing a regular season with the team. It's been a lot of fun. So outside of NBA 2K16, which is super old now, I haven't really been into anything else much this week. It's just been a real busy week. Had a great Thanksgiving with my family. I hope you guys did the same. It was just a lot of fun seeing some faces that I hadn't seen in a while, being able to have some good eats and have a lot of great laughs, with my family. So I hope that you guys were able to do the same, have a good time. And if you guys did go out on Black Friday, I hope that you were able to get all of the deals that you were anticipating. 4K TVs were a hot item this year, along with the consoles being sold at very, very great discounts, $50 discounts. Games were at certain games were at a very, very reasonable price. So I really hope that all of you guys out there that were interested in these deals, as well as other things that might not have necessarily been gaming related or TV related, were able to go out there and get the items that you wanted to get. And you were able to do it safely without catching an elbow or anything like that to the daggone chin. But outside of that, man, I guess we should just go ahead, man, and jump into what we all come here for. That's right, the gaming news that went down. Starting out now, for Oculus Rift owners, there is a bit of good news coming way of Microsoft. Now, finally, after a year and a half has passed since the announcement of bringing Xbox One games to the Rift, this will finally become official on December 12th, where gamers will be able to download an Xbox One streaming app via the Oculus Rift store, allowing game players to see what they need to see in order to get things synced up with, listen to this, with the console. Now, all video and audio content will be redirected from the TV to the Oculus during gaming sessions. Not only will the Xbox One and the Xbox One S model get Oculus support, Microsoft is also fully supporting Oculus on Windows 10, as well as packing in the Xbox One wireless controller with the purchase of the Oculus Rift. Guys, can you believe this? This is actually going to happen. Now, as long as I read it correctly, and I tell you, I looked at it 4 times, they are saying that the Oculus Rift will be coming to the Xbox One and the Xbox One S. It will be supported via, once again, an app via the Oculus Rift store, which will once again allow game players to sync up the Oculus Rift with their console, and all of the video and audio will be redirected onto the Oculus Rift screen. How amazing is this? They're going to get support. The Xbox One is going to get Oculus Rift support. Now, there was always a possibility that this would have happened on the Xbox Scorpio. Of course, the Scorpio is going to be a lot more powerful than the Xbox One S or the Xbox One original, but just the fact that they're bringing this to the Xbox One December 12th, this is huge, man. This is gigantic. I still won't be picking up an Oculus Rift because that is way too far out of my price range. But just the fact that they're actually offering this is amazing. This is going to be really cool. I don't know how well the actual, it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna have the 120 frames per second that's necessary to make sure you don't have any sickness, any motion sickness. I'm thinking that if the PlayStation 4, which is technically and truthfully a little more powerful than the Xbox One, if they're having trouble with this, I can only imagine that the Xbox One is going to have some of the same problems. So we'll see how this all comes out in the wash. But for you guys out there that own Oculus Rifts, come December 12th, looks like it's going to expand just a little bit more and get more Xbox game support onto the peripheral. Moving on into some Rocket League news. Rocket League has a Game of the Year edition that is available right now for the PC and the PlayStation 4. And you might be asking, what is going to come with this? Well, it's going to come with, of course, the game, along with 3 expansions, that will include Supersonic Fury, Revenge of the Battle Cars, as well as Chaos Run, and other digital bonuses. Now, the game will be priced at $25, and this is the more interesting and a little bit of sad news. No Game of the Year edition at this point in time has been announced for the Xbox One. So right now, you'll only be able to get this edition on, once again, the PC and the PlayStation 4. Who knows, maybe sometime down the line, maybe it'll be released on the Xbox One, this edition. I mean, we all know that for many months, it might have been a year, I'm not 100% sure on the timing, but we know that Rocket League was not on the Xbox One until many months after it had already debuted on the PlayStation 4. So it might be that same kind of deal where it's not totally X'd out of the plans. It's just for right now, it's no release date available. So, I mean, hopefully it'll come to the platform. But for you guys that are PC owners and PlayStation 4 owners that want to continue to support Rocket League, it looks like it's a pretty hefty package that they're giving for $25. So if you want to support it, go ahead and download it, because once again, it's available right now. Moving on into some Telltale news. Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 3. Some of you guys might be looking forward to this. Well, it actually has a release date. This game will officially be releasing on December 20th. But if you're highly anticipating the game, you will get a chance to see the game on December 1st at the Game Awards with an extended first look. And if you like physical copies, if you're a physical copy kind of person like myself, there will be a physical release of the game available on February 7th, where you will have access to the whole season, which will be 5 episodes long. So for any of you guys out there that are, looking forward to this, and you're so amped up, you're just anticipating this with so much anticipation that you can't wait to see some more information on this, then just look out for December 1st. You're going to get an extended look of the game. And I think this is great. It looks like Telltale is doing this with a lot of the properties that they're working on, because they, with the physical copies, that is, because Batman is an actual physical copy, which I plan on getting that once the whole season wraps up. I'm not really one of those game players that enjoys playing a game, having to wait a month to get the rest of the story, and so on and so on. So I'd much rather wait for all of it to come out at one time and fully be able to get the full experience all at once. So once again, February 7th, if you guys want the physical copy of The Walking Dead Season 3, it will be available. Unfortunately, at this time, I wasn't able to find an actual price point of the game, so we'll have to wait and see how much it will be, but I'm sure it's probably gonna top out between $30 and $35 for the most part. But moving on, now there are 3 new games that have become backwards compatible with the Xbox One. Now, these games are as follows. They are Rayman Legends, which is a really cool game from what I hear. I hear it's pretty great. You have Burnout Paradise. Wow, that's a really good one. Burnout Paradise is actually coming to backwards compatibility. A lot of people have been looking for this since there has not been a sequel to this game or to this franchise. Burnout Paradise is coming. And last but absolutely not least, one of my favorite racing games from last generation is Pure. Pure is backwards compatible. If you guys aren't familiar with the game Pure, it was actually an ATV racing game where the courses that you raced around, I'm sure you guys who have been long-term listeners of the podcast have heard me talk about Pure before. But the thing that I loved about Pure was the fact that the courses that you raced on, they were so intense. They were almost like roller coasters, like you were riding a roller coaster. Some of the jumps, you would go up so high, and it would be like the music and everything would just stop, and you would just hear the wind and hear this sound effect that would go, eew. Then you would come down and boom, and then everything would come back to normal. It was just an amazing, incredible racing game. One of my favorite racing games of all time. So it seems like their list continues to grow. And by the way, I have to give a nod to Mr. Major Nelson, his latest podcast. If you guys have ever been interested in how backwards compatibility works on the Xbox One, and what some of the steps are to actually get it going and actually get things approved and getting the licensing back, definitely check out the latest podcast from Major Nelson. It was a really big eye-opener, and it helped me to really appreciate what this backwards compatible, this feature really entails and what it means. It's not a very easy tack on, do it, it's done type of situation. So it really gave me a whole new respect of what Microsoft is actually doing over there and getting these games approved, and just the legwork that it takes to actually get these things onto the console. So once again, if you guys want to check that out, get some more history on that, just check out once again the latest episode of Major Nelson's podcast. Moving on to the next story. Now, an unannounced feature for the Nintendo Switch could have been mistakenly revealed due to a GameStop investor relations call from USA CEO Mr. Paul Raines, who said, and this is a quote from him, "A movement-related game is more fun for kids. Taking those accessories off," basically meaning the detachable Joy-Con pads. Now, back onto his quote, he says, "You could really do a lot of interesting things with that in-game play. Could Mr. Raines," that's the end of the quote, "could Mr. Raines be talking about motion control?" Because he said a movement-related game is more fun for kids. So possibly, just possibly, one of the unleaked until possibly now features that could be in the Switch might be motion controls, which would mean that Nintendo is still not giving up on this thing that was very popular, that made their Wii very popular. So we'll have to see if this is true. They'll actually be doing the reveal in January. We're all anticipating that and looking forward to it. So we'll get more information then on if this is true, how this motion control could work on this console / handheld. It could be very, very interesting and make for some very interesting gaming sessions, but nothing is concrete right now. Nintendo has not commented on this. They haven't even done the regular, run-of-the-mill. Nintendo does not comment on rumors or anything like that. Nothing. They've just been mum about the whole situation. So we'll have to see further on down the line. Not much longer, because we are getting ready to run into December, which we're going to blast through that, and we'll be in 2017 in no time, which means that Nintendo will be up to bat to show us what their console can do. Moving on now, to celebrate 12 years of World of Warcraft. God, game's been around a long time. 12 years of World of Warcraft. Blizzard is giving players an anniversary gift. Now, it's going to be a corgi puppy. I hope I said that right. I don't know if it's corgi or corgi. It's spelled C-O-R-G-I. I'm saying a corgi puppy. Of course, now, I want to let you guys know they're not giving away an actual physical puppy, a corgi puppy, no. But of course, this is going to be in the game. Now, if you're interested in getting this, all you have to do is make sure that as long as you log in by November 30th, you will be able to claim your prize and earn the World of Warcraft 12th anniversary achievement. So if you guys want to get a corgi puppy, just go ahead and just log on before November 30th. And that's a really cool achievement that they give on the 12th anniversary achievement. So if any of you guys are interested and are still playing WoW, then, this is a nice little incentive. I mean, it's nothing big, nothing groundbreaking, or nothing huge, but I think it's a really nice gesture that they're actually giving out something like this for people to celebrate the 12 years that the WoW universe has been around. Moving on to the next story. Now, this it's finally about to happen, guys. This Tuesday, we will finally get to play the long-awaited Final Fantasy 15. Now, before you buy it, you may be asking yourself, Well, how many megabytes of hard drive space am I going to need? Some of you guys might be way past that and are just waiting, have deleted a couple of games in anticipation for Final Fantasy 15. But if you're interested in how much hard drive space you're going to need, starting out with the PlayStation 4, you're going to need at least 40.5 gigabytes of free hard drive space. So as long as you have 40.5 gigs, you'll be ready to go. Pre-install it on Monday, or maybe some of you guys have already done that, and you'll be set. But if you have an Xbox One, this is sad news because that version, if you're going to get it on Xbox One, is going to take up a whopping, a major 51.82 gigabytes of hard drive space. Let me tell you something, man. Once again, I cannot stress this enough. Guys that have an Xbox One, that have hard drive space issues, I cannot implore you enough to do yourself a favor. Go out there, get the 4 terabyte external hard drive. It's such an easy install. I've said this so many times, but these games, they're just not getting smaller. They're getting much bigger. So if you want to just remedy that situation, not have to worry about deleting a game that you're actually into, but you want to play Final Fantasy 15 or any other game just a little more, and you'll just download it again on the back end, get the 4 terabyte hard drive. It's $150. Make sure it's a Seagate. I've had no problems, no issues with this hard drive. Just want to put that out there. But now the thing is, I want to let you guys know also what each version is going to bring to the table. Now, for the Xbox One version, okay. Anyway, it's for 51.82 gigs. But the PlayStation 4 version will render between 900p and 1080p, which is really cool if you ask me. But the Xbox One version is going to render between 765p and 900p. Now, for the PlayStation 4 Pro, the game will actually render at 4K 30 frames per second or 1080p with an unlocked frame rate between 45 and 60 frames per second. So we're starting to see, at least now, if you're getting it on the Pro, you see right up front what you're going to get. It'll actually render it at the 4K 30 frames per second. That's the first option. And then you can go ahead and get it in 1080p with the unlocked frame rate. That's what Sony needs to do to get people to jump on board with the Pro. As long as they're telling people what the benefits of the Pro version will be, I think that will make people feel more inclined, who are hardcore game players like us that are here, feel more inclined to go ahead and get the PlayStation 4 Pro because they know that they're going to get that extra oomph that we all like to have in the game. So I think that that's really cool, but nonetheless, Final Fantasy 15 is finally about to be a reality after 9, almost 10 years of development. This anticipated, highly anticipated game is coming out. Do you guys think that Final Fantasy 15 is going to live up to the hype? A lot of games, I think that Final Fantasy 15 may be the first game to actually deliver. One of the first games that will actually deliver as far as being in development forever and actually come out and people love it. I'm going to say that they will be the first to do it because all of the gameplay sessions that I've looked up, and I've heard impressions from people. It has been very, very, very positive. So we'll see how this all plays out. We'll see what happens, but this could be the one, folks. This could be the game to bring Final Fantasy back into the forefront the way that it used to be. Moving on into some No Man's Sky news. Now, No Man's Sky, it has had a very, very tough road to travel and has come under major fire for not living up to the lofty goals that were advertised. We all see this. It's been a rough time for Hello Games, but nonetheless, No Man's Sky has released an update for the PlayStation 4 entitled Foundation Update. Now, the patch will take up to 2.7 gigabytes of hard drive space. And the update gets its name. You might be wondering, how the world did it get the name? Well, the update actually gets the name from adding the foundations of base building as well as being a foundation for things to come. Now, this update will feature the opportunity to select from 3 different difficulty modes: normal mode, creative mode, which allows players to explore the universe with no limits and build large bases. Next, you'll have unlimited, but in this mode, you'll also have unlimited health and resources, and you can make buildings at 0 cost. And in this mode, though, unfortunately, trophies are disabled. The next mode is creative mode. In creative mode. I'm just butchering this. Sorry about that. As all in creative mode, you won't have any trophies. They'll be disabled. But the last mode is survival mode, which creates a more challenging gameplay experience. Now, you'll face limited resources, more aggressive enemies, and increased hazards. Now, this update has not made it to Steam yet, but I'm hoping that in the future it will. I guess they just wanted to cover home base first, but we will see. Hopefully you Steam guys, y'all paid the same amount of money. Y'all deserve the same treatment, but hopefully they're just trying to see or work out the kinks on the PlayStation 4 first, and then you guys will get this update as well. But I think that it's good. I mean, I know No Man's Sky really let a lot of game players down. It didn't really live up to the hype or the expectations. It was a lot of false advertisement in there, unfortunately, but I think that they're trying to make things right. I mean, it's no way they can fully right this ship. It's fully turned around, in the negative side of things, but them actually releasing this, I think this is just them trying to, let the people that they let down know that, hey, we're still in it. We're going to keep trying, and that's basically it. They're just trying to gain back trust, but I just don't think that Hello Games is gonna get it. Sean Murray, he's, come under fire. I mean, rightfully so. But, with a situation like this, with No Man's Sky, it just didn't deliver on the things that were once again advertised that it would have in the game. So, I mean, I applaud them for coming out with this update and trying to, put a bit of a Band-Aid on the wound. But, you got a leaking sieve, brother. You're going to have to put some stitches in that thing. And, hopefully for the people out there that still do support this game, No Man's Sky, hopefully this will make your gameplay sessions a little better, having those 3 options, and maybe it'll bring you, a little more time with the game. Maybe it'll expand your time with it. But moving on now, this is a good one, man. I just hope that it's true. But it's another rumor circulating around that we could possibly be getting another sequel to the long-running series, Marvel Vs Capcom. Oh my gosh. Now, even though the series has been absent for several years, the series could be getting a 4th entry. Now, this rumor started when leaked artwork and a logo were found. Now, there is always a chance that these, this logo and the artwork, that these could have been fan-made, but they do look very, very darn professional. Now, some other images were shown that said, now these were still images, and this really looks legit, y'all, but these images that were shown, these extra images, they said celebrating almost 20 years of Marvel vs. Capcom. Now, it shows several superheroes, and now that was the second picture. It showed several superheroes, but in the last picture, it shows the number 4 and says 2017. And the most interesting thing was, it shows the PlayStation 4 logo on the right hand side. So who knows? Maybe, just maybe, and we'll know in a couple of days, just maybe, wouldn't it be crazy if we saw a Marvel vs. Capcom 4 at the doggone PlayStation experience? That would be a mic drop moment. We'll have to see. I'm pumped up. Marvel vs. Capcom is the only fighting game that I have ever fully supported. That the Marvel vs. Capcom universe, I love it so doggone much. I'm not a big Street Fighter guy. That's not really my stick. I'm not into Darkstalkers or any of the other fighting games. The only other fighting game I told you guys I was into was Fight Night. But when you talk about Marvel vs. Capcom, I still have the ultimate edition of Marvel vs. Capcom on my Xbox 360. I'm hoping they'll make that backwards compatible. Could y'all please bring that over to the daggone Xbox One's backwards compatibility list? That's what I've been waiting on, but who knows? This would be amazing if this game is released in 2017. We see it at the PlayStation Experience. It would just, oh my goodness. Arena on fire. Fire. 911. Call it, we need water to cool off. This would be incredible, but we won't know until a couple of days from now. But be on the lookout. Check out for some more stories on this. This could be legit. Marvel vs. Capcom 4 could be coming very, very soon. We shall see. Moving on to the next story. Oh, this one is obsolete. I don't know. Some of you guys might hear this before it's too late. But I'm actually recording this on Sunday. So, it's still legit. But by the time this comes up, I don't know if you guys are going to hear it in time. But I'll just say it anyway. Amazon. Dang, this is a good darn deal, man. For Cyber Week, Amazon is actually selling the PlayStation 4 Pro for $339. Oh my gosh. And they said that this is only good for Sunday. So I'm hoping to get this podcast out there to you guys before 12. Sure, I should make that, but soon as you hear this, please get over there to Amazon. Hopefully you'll have enough time. And hey, who knows, maybe, just maybe they'll extend it. But that is an excellent deal. $340. They dropped it down $60. And that thing just came out this month. So that is amazing. But keeping on with some more PlayStation news, Destroy All Humans 2 will be released for the PlayStation 4 this Tuesday. Now, you can expect that this title will come with trophy support. So any of you guys that have been into Destroy All Humans 2 that are looking for this game or to play on your PlayStation 4, it is coming. But I never really got into the games. I actually played a demo of it many years ago. It was the first one on the Xbox, the original Xbox. I played it And he had telekinesis powers or something like that. I couldn't really get into it, but a couple people, they actually enjoyed it. I would read it in the game magazines that people would be like, "Oh man, this game is fun. It's great. It's awesome." But it just never really appealed to me. But if you're into trophies and you're into this kind of game, I believe it's going to be $20, which, wow, that's a little expensive for over a decade-old game, but hey, who knows? I guess it's all about your preference. So if this is something you're into, then definitely hop on it and get it. Moving on into some more Nintendo news. Now, actually, this is pretty cool news. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is being released for the Wii U Virtual Console for $9.99. So if any of you guys have not played The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, you'll be able to pick this up on the Virtual Console. This seems to be the one of the lesser popular Legends of Zelda. It seems like it's possibly like the black sheep of the fray. So I don't know. Some guys might want to pick it up. Some of you guys might not be feeling it. But either way, it's $10. If you're interested in it, then I say definitely pick it up and enjoy it. But it's out right now. So, yep, that's about it. Moving on to the next story. Now, even though, this is another interesting story. It's Capcom, man. I give it to them. They're trying. They might not be doing great, but they're trying. Listen to this, y'all. Even though Street Fighter V has not been a runaway success, I mean, it didn't sell well at all. I mean, it sold well beneath what they needed to get any kind of profit. But despite it not being a runaway success and not selling a ton, Capcom says that they are still committed to Street Fighter V until 2020. Now, there is speculation that a Season 2 announcement could be announced at PSX, which is, PlayStation Experience, next week. So, Capcom, man, first off, Street Fighter V was a highly anticipated game. People were very excited to see that Sony was able to get the exclusive rights. Everybody said it's a great move. It's awesome. That's what you need. You need that, Sony. And it was a great pickup. Matter of fact, I would say it was an excellent pickup. Everybody thought that this was going to sell through the freaking ceiling. I mean, through the rafters, through the moon, through the sky, that sales were going to be amazing. And it had the potential to do just that. This is Street Fighter. This is a legendary fighting game. This goes back, the roots of this game go back to the arcade, back in like 92, when Street Fighter was out in the arcade. This is the grandfather of street fighting. I mean, not just street fighting games, but the fighting genre. So to have this exclusive to your platform, you would think that this has to sell. It has a huge install base. It's gigantic on the competition side in the gaming community. It's the game to watch. I mean, Evo. People see a whole event dedicated to this genre of game. But the problem happened when they released the game incomplete. They didn't have the story mode in there. And many people said, well, why are you tripping on a story mode? That's never been Street Fighter's stronghold. That's not what they do. My answer to that is, if you were that type of person that felt like, why do people care about this? I'll simply say it was because of the competition. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat actually showed that a fighting game can shine in a story mode. It can make a game much more interesting. It can give it more appeal. It can give it more replayability. to be a game that has a story with it. So of course, people were going to compare the two of the games, even though they're in the same genre, yes, so they should be compared, but one is way more brutal than the other, but the thing is that if you didn't think people were going to compare the two as far as the story modes went, you would be out of your mind. And because they released the game basically half-baked, not finished, it made a drastic frown happen on Street Fighter V. And because of that, that effect is still being felt to this day. It has not got its footing yet. And from what I hear, it's an amazing fighting game. It was just such a missed opportunity from doggone Capcom to actually have this game come out, be fully polished, have all of the modes in it at once. People were very salty about this. So, it just didn't sell. And, now you have Capcom. They're still committed. They're going to go ahead and try this thing for another 3 years to try to get it back on track. And, I appreciate that Capcom is going to try to do this. They're going to try to right their wrongs. But it's the old thing, man. It's the old saying, basically what did Miyamoto say? A delayed game is a delayed game, but a bad game is a bad game forever. Something like that. I'm not doing the quote 100% right, but once you get that label that, you're a bad game and you're not offering much, most of the time the community moves on. Case in point, Titanfall. Titanfall is a great game. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a 9 or 10, let alone should be in the category for Game of the Year. But if you were to ask me of course I did, but if you were to ask me, is it worth buying? I would say, heck yeah, it's worth buying. It's worth it if you're a first-person shooter fan and you might be a little stale on Call of Duty. It brings enough to the table that's different, that separates it from Call of Duty, that I think that anybody who's into the genre would be able to pick up this game and find something in it that they would absolutely love. So, it's just a sad point that, Titanfall, because the first game wasn't up to snuff, or it was just online only, it really plagued the sequel, where a lot of people were just kind of cool on it and were like, I heard the first one wasn't that great, so I don't think I'm going to give this a shot. But the one good thing is word of mouth. It travels. So Titanfall might be able to mount a comeback, who knows? But that's what I'm saying. Street Fighter, as far as word of mouth, it got out that it was missing modes. It wasn't a complete game, and it really hurt it from the outset. If they had just waited, I know they wanted to have it out in time for the tournament and all of that for the tournament players, but like it's been documented, most people that play Street Fighter are not on the professional level. They just want to get together with their friends and they want to play the game. That's it. But once again, if any of you guys are Street Fighter V fans and were worried that this game was going to fall completely to the wayside with no support, fear not. They'll be supporting it, Capcom that is, until 2020. So hopefully they'll announce something brand new, some new characters, some new modes, online modes. We'll have to wait and see. But the last story for this week. This is actually going to be a real short show. It looks like the rumors of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is true. According to a Target website, it's actually showing that the release date of Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to be released on June 13th. 2017. So it looks like at this point in time, of course, nothing is 100% official. Sometimes they do this for a placeholder date on the different websites, but Target has it out for June 13th, which is well past the launch window. Well, not necessarily the launch window, but the launch of the console, because the console is coming out in March. This is for June, which is 3 months later. So for any of you guys that were very, very excited about getting The Legend of Zelda during the actual launch day of the Switch, unfortunately, this is not the case. Now, Nintendo might come out at the event in January, at the reveal event, and say, no, that's not true. It'll be out day and date. But you guys remember, we've been hearing rumblings about this for the last I've been hearing rumblings about it for like the last 2 weeks, that it was going to be delayed, that it wasn't going to make that launch. So maybe, this Target website could be very much so on the money with this June 13th release date. So we'll have to see how everything goes and how everything happens in the future, but it's not looking too good. It's looking like Zelda's going to be delayed, man. But not even necessarily delayed, just not going to make it. They said it was going to make it, but hey, things change. I'm rambling now, but that is the end of the gaming news this week. Man, I tell you guys, I am sick. I'm not even going to lie to y'all, man. I am not feeling well, brother, but it's all good, man. I love doing this podcast. It's one of the most fun times of the week for me. Actually recording this podcast and being able to talk to you guys and getting feedback from y'all. So it's well worth the struggle. Trust me. I apologize for not being as energetic. I tried, but sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off. I think this is definitely one of those off days. But fear not, though, man. We will definitely be back with my favorite part of the podcast. Y'all know this. It truly is, man. We're going to get back, and once we get back, we're going to get into the feedback section. So we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned, game players. Welcome back, game players. Welcome back to the podcast. We are now in my favorite section of the podcast, and it is, of course, the feedback section. And we definitely got an email from my man, 100 Grand, Mr. Y'all all know him. He's kept this part of the podcast alive every week for I don't know how many weeks. Good grief, I mean months he's been keeping this section alive. So Mr. Cody Clark has written in again. And the name of his email is Unplugging to Recharge. He says, hey, Keon, hey, what's going on, Cody? He says, I hope your pre-Turkey Day week has been going well. I love Thanksgiving and spending time with my friends, playing board games and enjoying much libations. I will be more than happy when the holiday season is over, because the DMV area is always full of chaos and people in a hurry this time of year. Yes, that is very true. Being a truck driver, I've seen it firsthand, and it gets very hectic out there. He continues to say, do you find yourself unplugging from games and social media around this time, or are you always connected and watching what is coming down the pipeline? Post-vacation and being glued to the internet to watch the election, I have found myself drawing back and away from the book of faces and new media in total. I mean, I'll probably throw down and watch some Star Wars or maybe Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, but I feel like I need a media break. I kind of hope doing so will give me a fresh look on 2017. I mean, I just want to hit the ground running with the new Mass Effect and just enjoy some games. Mr. Cody Clark, first off, I want to say I hope you had a great turkey day, great Thanksgiving. I hope you were able to enjoy it, like you said, with your friends, and were able to break out some of those classic board games, whether it was Monopoly, maybe some checkers. I don't know. They have, what's the other one, man? Operation. I used to love Operation. I never had a steady hand, but it was one of my favorite games. You got Clue. But I'm probably naming so many old school joints. They've probably gotten so many new other ones since those. But I really hope you had a great holiday, Cody. I hope, it was everything you hoped it would be. And, on a side note, to your further point, the holidays, they will be over soon, because this whole year seems like it was a blur. Like, we should be in June right now. It just seems like it was a time warp. And as soon as we hit January, we were already in October, and now hence just about December. So, with that being said, though, to your question, do I unplug from the internet and different media this time of year? That's a very, very good question, Cody. And I tell you, no, unfortunately, no, I don't find myself doing it, only because, of the podcast. Now, I will say this, since Christmas will be falling on a Sunday this year, I can tell you guys right now, it will not be a podcast that week after Christmas, because I do want to spend that time with my friends and family, and maybe just take a few days off. But if it wasn't, I can't even say if it wasn't for the podcast, because I just love looking up gaming stuff and keeping up with, what's going on in the industry. So, for me, no, but I will say this though, Cody, when it's the day of, when it's like that holiday, that Christmas or Thanksgiving, or, that New Year's Eve, whenever the event is actually taking place, I'm honed in with my family, and my friends. Only time I'll, pick up the phone for the most part is to maybe take a picture, just saving a memory. But the day of, no, I don't, particularly, stay on the internet too much. I just kind of like to spend that time with the family. But the lead up to the actual holiday, yeah, I'm all over different websites trying to find out what's going on in the industry and all of that stuff. I'm not really big on Facebook or Twitter, or I don't even have an Instagram. So the only thing I'll post on Facebook is always game related. I never put up any personal, I'll put up a photo or two depending on what it is, but I don't really put myself out there on Facebook like that. It's basically always game related. But yeah, outside of that though, Cody, yeah, that's about it, man. I'm really looking forward to spending this time, with family, because it's always a time where you can reconnect with people you might not have seen in many, many months, days, and even years in some cases. So I just want to savor those moments and be able to take in as much of it to make the best memories possible. So yeah, that would be my answer to that, Cody. But I thank you, brother. Oh man, I can't believe I just sniffled in y'all ear. I'm sorry, man. Thank you, Cody, for writing in as always, brother. It is greatly appreciated, and I apologize to you listeners out there with my cold and all. I know that I kind of sound a little clogged up right now, but hopefully you guys can get past my voice And it wasn't too bad, but I don't want to keep rambling on like I always do. But I guess we'll move on into the last section of the podcast, which is, of course, where I got to get you guys' opinion, to a question. And the question this week, and I'm just going to make it brief because I'm really starting to sound kind of bad here. And my question to you guys is this. Is VR, is it a long-term thing? Is VR gonna last? Is it a medium that we will be able to see grow? Because VR has tried several different times to break into the market. I will say that this time out has been the most VR that I've seen. It's had a big presence this time out. So once again, the question is, does it have staying power, or will it go the way of the Kinect, where Kinect had a lot of great features in theory, but it never fully lived up to the hype that everybody put behind it? I'm not going to say the potential, and maybe not even the potential, because the Kinect 2.0, that got pulled to me prematurely. I thought it was a really good peripheral, but a lot of people were not feeling it, so it just didn't last. But that would be my question to you guys this week. And if you guys were to participate in that question, you can feel free to call in at 443-261-4607 and leave a voicemail. Or if you want to, you can always email the show at theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com to get your comments read on the podcast, or get your voicemail played on the podcast as well. So with that, guys, I am going to wrap it up and get some sleep and drink some orange juice. But I want to just say this very, very quickly for any of you guys out there. We know that the economy, it has gotten better. It has, it's been a slow climb in trying to get people, back to work. People are still struggling to find work out there. And, it's not a pretty picture out there. I know that a lot of people are down because they're looking and they're, applying themselves, filling out different applications and all. But I just want to give you guys just some advice, and this is only if you're able to do it. I would tell anyone out there, if you're able and capable of being able to, I would recommend to anybody out there, get your CDL Class A license. I would say that it's a ticket. It is a green light ticket to get a job. I'm telling you, it is so many places that are hiring truck drivers. Now, keep in mind, not all trucking companies are the same. Some of them you'll be local. You'll be able to go out for that day and be back that day. Other companies, kind of like similar to the company that I work for, I'll be gone for a day and a half, maybe 2 days, get back, have a day off, go back out the next day, stay out another 2, get back on Saturday. And I understand that some people have families, and that's not something that is particularly something they can do. But that's why I say, if you're in the position to be able to, just think about getting your CDL. I can pretty much guarantee you, even new drivers, they have spots for you. So that's just something to think about. Sorry it's not game related, but just seeing people, that personally, or hearing different stories about people just saying that, I'm qualified and I just can't find something that works for me. It's not paying enough for it. It's just not conducive to what I need. CDL Class A license, it's not going to fix all your problems. It's not going to solve everything It does come with downsides, just like everything out there. But I just once again want to just say that if you want to have something in your back pocket that can get you a job pretty quickly because it's such a high demand, definitely look into it. But I am going to wrap it up for real, guys. I wish you guys well. I hope you guys have a great work week and get through it as great as you can. So until next week, you guys, when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there, y'all. Bye-bye.